How old were you when you had that child?
11.
Motherhood at the age of 11.
These children retracted their testimonies, and the claimed perpetrators were never charged with anything.
Who's they? Who's they?
The teachers, the parents, the staff.
Every single teacher, or specific teachers?
No, every single. The whole school does it. The whole school, and we got our own church too. So because they do that, because after, as I said, we kill babies, we drink their blood, we eat them. Okay. But then after so the social services who are in it, they go to families, So if the families can't afford, so they get a baby but they can't look after it or anything, they can't buy food or they can't buy clothes, they can't look after it. So the families who sell their children. Yeah. So the social services get them. They say they get them to a foster home, but they don't. Right, okay. So then because our dad, he forces me and Gabriel to do it. But because we can't, we're not strong enough to cut the baby's head off. He does us to hold a knife, and he puts his hand at the top of our hand, and he helps us to cut the baby's head off. Because he's learning. He's teaching me and Gabriel, so when we're older, to do it to our own children and do this kind of stuff to our own children.
Where is it this that happens?
The church, in the kitchen in our church.
And so you were...
Right, I was born into a family that believes in this.
And does everyone else think it's a nice Jewish family? From the outside, you appear to be a nice Jewish girl.
Definitely.
And you all are worshiping the devil inside the home?
Right. There's other Jewish families across the country. It's not just my own family.
Really? So what kinds of things? You don't have to give us the gory details, but what kinds of things went on in the family?
Well, there would be rituals in which babies would be sacrificed, and you would have to,
Whose babies?
There were people who bred babies in their family. No one would know about it. A lot of people were overweight, so you couldn't tell if they were pregnant or not. Or they would supposedly go away for a while and then come back.
So, you witnessed the sacrifice?
Right. When I was very young, I was forced to participate in that, in which I had to sacrifice an infant.
And the purpose of sacrifice is to what? Is to bring you what? What are you sacrificing for?
For power.
Power. And so, were you ever used? Were you ever used yourself?
I was molested. I was raped several times. There's a book that I had just come across called Lilith's Cave, which is a book of Jewish mysticism and supernatural. And there's a lot in that book that relates to what I, endured when I was a child.
1947, Alfred Kinsey founded the Institute for Sexual Research. Okay, this is basically the pre-MK Ultra, which you'll hear about in a minute. He wrote the book Sexual Behavior in the Human Male, 1948, and Sexual Behavior in the Human Female in 1953, which is basically when he graduated. He was doing experiments on children using pedophiles. This is absolutely true, not an over-exaggeration. Buy his books, read them. The graphs will show.
Dr. Alfred Kinsey, his book, Sexual Behavior in the Human Male, 1948. He was the father of the sexual revolution, and therefore the father of everything that has come from that. And certainly, one of the key things was pornography.
What people to this day are not aware of were the methods he used to collect his data.
And I looked at the graphs that he provided, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34 tables, and I said, wait a minute, that's a 2-month-old baby. How does he know a 2-month-old baby did or did not have an orgasm? And then table 34, a 4-year-old child, 26 orgasms in 24 hours. That's an around-the-clock experiment.
Wow, that's torture.
That's torture, you bet. He also actually employed bona fide pedophiles to do what they did to children for his so-called data. I read Kinsey and believed him was a guy named Hugh Hefner. Okay, yeah, so he's in
so
college.
Hefner was
an
advocate for
he reads Kinsey and says, I will be, and I'm quoting him, Kinsey's pamphleteer. America was educated by a pedophile whose work was labeled as science.
It's disgusting. Believe it or not, that's the basis of our sexual education today, absolutely. Also, Hef, the founder of Playboy magazine, Alfred Kinsey was his idol. Look it up. Having knowledge from the sick Nazi experiments over in Germany, Project MK Ultra was formed in 1953, first starting with LSD and drug-based mind control experiments.
This is the story of a 30-year search by U.S. intelligence agencies to perfect mind control. Some of those engaged in that search have agreed to talk about it for the first time. One said, I think every last one of us felt sorry to attempt this kind of thing. We knew we were crossing the line. The search would be endless. From brothels, an agent says, we learned a lot about human nature in the bedroom, to the mystical rites of a magical mushroom ceremony performed by an Indian shaman, to a Spanish bull ring. The bull has had electrodes implanted in the brain and is controlled by a scientist. There would be victims. One intelligence agency tried to peel this man's mind back to reveal its deepest secrets. This man worked on some of these programs. He would write of his work, it was fun, fun, fun.
ABC News Close-Up, Mission Mind Control. We are not professing to tell you the complete story of these activities. We are professing to tell you the complete story that we know. But these records that we've uncovered don't tell the story, they tell pieces of it.
They experimented with mescaline, scopolamine, and marijuana on unwitting victims. As this 1952 CIA memo says, the aim is controlling an individual to the point where he will do our bidding against his will, and even against such fundamental laws of nature as self-preservation. The discovery was lysergic acid diethylamide, LSD.